I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Welcome into the Room to Room Weather Center here for Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and today was as good of a day as you can get in late August as North Mississippi can provide, right? Temperatures not shabby whatsoever, actually cool. I haven't broken a sweat today, and that's definitely saying something when it comes to a summer forecast. And I know a lot of folks across North Mississippi can say exactly that. So we are tracking a few of those pop-up showers heading overnight. So today started out clear, cloud cover built as we head through the afternoon, but then as we get towards those overnight hours, moisture does return. But how much moisture? That's the golden question moving into that extended forecast. Those 10% chances at least aiding in supplying a little bit more of that moisture for when those 5, 6 o'clock hours towards tomorrow morning reach in the forecast. That's where we could see more significant moisture. So that's 10% just assisting the atmosphere and aiding some of those showers moving into the forecast early on our Thursday morning. Let's get a live look outside thanks to the North Mississippi Storm Chasers cameras. Getting a great look there in Smithville. 67 degrees. Dew points have risen about 6 to 8 degrees. So definitely see that on the upward trend with that moisture returning, but clear skies across the region. It's going to be a beautiful evening across Monroe County, not just up in Monroe County, but Oktibbeha County, showcasing those same things. A little bit of those, I believe that's some spiderweb action right there. Some of those bugs there on the camera, but Starkville 8 to 10 showcasing great conditions. I know some folks are out and about there on Highway 12 getting their late night meals. So if you're doing so, dry conditions, but don't worry, rainfall does move in that extended forecast. So those cookout runs don't need to be out there by about 3 a.m. Macon, 70 degrees, dew points around 58 degrees. So that's the thing about this forecast. The further south you are, the more that moisture is being supported and the warmer those temperatures are. So we'll definitely see all of that climb heading into the next 24 hours. So definitely keep your eye on that. But I hope you enjoyed your dry conditions today because that forecast definitely flips in that extended forecast. One of the first areas that we expect those showers to roll in overnight and into tomorrow morning will be in the Rolling Fork area, 75 degrees. The Mississippi Delta, the most susceptible to that moisture, especially the northwest side of our viewing area. And we see exactly that. Right now, what we're tracking is a little bit of those pop-up showers, those light showers there at Clarksdale and Shelby, right along Highway 61 out there towards Arkansas. As we look at yes, I want to make sure that changed the radar site. As we look out of our Memphis radar, you can definitely see those showers a little bit more intense than some of those heavier downpours towards Dumas and Gillette right there on I-65, 165, my apologies, 165. So tracking that out, let's put a loop on this over the last, let me track that out. Over the last hour or so, we can see that heavier portion's right there in the heart, honestly dissipating just a bit. But whenever we go over the last hour or so, that is definitely a moving storm, a good mover right there, not going to be those 5 to 10 mile an hour. Whenever we talk about that speed, I would say that we're talking about 30 miles an hour, not out of the question. So we can see that reach the let's see, this would be on the south side of our viewing area, Laughlin 1042, Cleveland by about 1047, and then further into the Halstead area by about 1058. So tracking those showers, definitely one of the more active systems that we have across the region, but more moisture out there towards Arkansas, tracking that into that extended forecast through the overnight hours and towards tomorrow morning. Meteorologist Maggie McCauley walking us through that forecast in detail for what to expect for our Thursday. Rainfall totals over the past 24 hours. I mean, you can basically look at this graphic and tell me there might be a little bit of a blue hue there towards Arkansas. The fact that we have to squint our eyes to see it shows that this is not impactful rainfall. Looking at a few of those, I'm just going to tap different points. And so far you see trace amounts of rainfall with barely over 1/10 of an inch right there on the south side of Little Rock. That's where the highest moisture has been, but that moisture pushes further into North Mississippi heading into the next 24 hours. So the past 24, this has been the focal point, but you can see that tongue of moisture starting to move further into North Mississippi right here. If it follows that same trend, I mean, we're talking about Greenville North getting those best chance of showers, and even a few rumbles of thunder can't be excluded, but definitely one that we are paying attention to in the next 24 hours. Mississippi Live Weather Radar, you can see that surface analysis. As I expand this out, let's go one time to kind of get a good view on that. This northwest flow is what's feeding a large part of that moisture here to North Mississippi. So this first round of showers that we have on eastern Arkansas, that's going to be our first chances of rainfall, our first round. But then we get our next round of rainfall as supplied by that warm front pushing more into North Mississippi towards not late, but should I say early to mid-afternoon on our Thursday. So that's the best chances of rainfall, or at least the best chances for impactful rainfall, but our chances start as early as midnight on our Thursday. That warm front, like I mentioned, a big driver in that forecast. Let's go ahead and go through Futurecast right here to get a good idea on how that pushes in. So this warm front, what it's going to do is push in some of that Gulf Coast moisture into our area, thus increasing temperatures just a bit, but also increasing how much moisture we receive here in North Mississippi. That warm front also acting as a lifting mechanism to provide some of this rainfall and that stratiform precipitation that we will see. So those rain chances, 4 or 5 o'clock, this is going to be a pretty decent downpour. So go ahead and have that rain gear ready. That moisture continues to be supplied out of that low pressure center there towards Oklahoma City. Yeah, that tongue of moisture reaches all the way here to North Mississippi, even by 9 a.m. And this is as close as we get to washout conditions. So if you have any morning plans to be outside, let's move them indoors. And same thing with those afternoon activities, because even by 12 o'clock, that's where we get some of the most significant showers across the region with those heavy downpours expected, some of those reds and yellows showing up, and we'll walk through this in more detail coming up here shortly. So the next 24, it's going to be a busy 24 at that, so make sure to have that Mississippi Live Weather app handy, especially for the 6:30, 7, and 7:30 hour as Maggie walks us through those rain chances. Now 6, 9, 12, chances just continue to climb, 40 all the way to 60. Those 60% though linger all the way into the mid to late afternoon with some of the best chances of some of those downpours and some of that impactful rainfall. Of course, with this much rainfall that we have in the forecast, flooding is a realistic concern. And that's one of the things we're walking through in the next 60 is just where those flood-prone areas are, or at least the areas that'll see the best chances of rainfall. But across North Mississippi, it's going to be a soggy forecast. So make sure to keep it here for Mississippi Live Weather at 10 for the very latest as we go through that flooding potential and we go through what will be a soggy Thursday.
For more than 100 years, First Choice Bank has provided dedicated community banking to North Mississippi. The banking products and services you need when you need them. At First Choice, you're our priority. Make First Choice your choice for banking.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. We knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynard.
So weather watchers out in full force this evening, submitting some fantastic sunset photos, and I cannot wait to showcase a few of those off to you guys tonight. So what we're tracking, Room to Room Weather Center, is a beautiful evening across the region. That is a fiery sky in North Mississippi. You're looking across the North Gloucester area in Tupelo. Our weather watcher, Tanya, submitting this picture, and a big thank you to Tanya, because this definitely just brought a smile to my face getting to see that sunset in action, and even some beautiful views down there in Winston County. Weather watcher Betty submitting this picture, and I love how it kind of makes the landscape dark and really amplifies the sunset off there in the distance. So just a great sight, and a big thank you to everybody for submitting their weather watcher photos. We'll try to get more of those heading into the forecast into our Thursday. But I want to say another challenge, because I know that you guys listen to these challenges. If you have a rain gauge or any way to measure how much rainfall you get, make sure to submit those photos to Mississippi Live Weather, because we want to see some of those rainfall outputs, and we can of course forward that to the National Weather Service for any of those flood-prone areas if the National Weather Service needs to keep a particular eye on that area. So you guys help us out, and we are able to forward everything that you guys send to the National Weather Service to who needs to know to issue some of those advisories and possibly warnings, because that's a realistic possibility. So rain gauge, get them ready. They'll be active for your Thursday. Let's take a live look outside at some of the beautiful conditions we're experiencing right now in Aberdeen. 63 degrees, that dew point already at 63. So it already shows a saturated atmosphere, making that moisture impact our forecast just a bit more than what it has been the past few days. Not just in Aberdeen, but we're also tracking that forecast down around Caledonia. Dew point still in the low 60s, so it has some movement before it reaches that same value. We talked yesterday about how dew point and temperature, they have to line up before we reach that lowest temperature across the region. So paying attention to that, paying attention to how much we cool off. We're not setting any records, I will say that, but we are going to get those below average temperatures once again. And Caledonia, not going to be the coolest area, but out there, I forgot this camera is down right now. I apologize for showing that. No, it is not blue skies across the region. My apologies right there, but it's just a beautiful forecast across the region. Greenville showcases that beautiful night sky. I do see some of those stratus clouds off there in the distance, so it is starting to move back into the forecast as some of that moisture kicks in once again. So that's where we're getting those most significant rain chances, is looking out there towards the west, northwest, as some of those light showers kick in there towards eastern Arkansas. We see it right there moving towards Shelby and Cleveland, basically on the west side of Highway 61. That's our best chance of rainfall overnight, but we've been saying about 10% chance. So this is not going to be our big rain provider. It's the next round that moves in towards tomorrow morning that's really going to impact that forecast. Looking out of the Memphis Tower, we can definitely see some heavier portions out there towards Dumas, moving across the Mississippi River as we speak. So hopefully a little bit of that moisture reaches there towards Cleveland and Shelby and supplies them with some much needed moisture. But don't worry, Highway 61, if you don't see rainfall tonight, tomorrow, more than likely a very high possibility that you guys get those showers. So here, Futurecast doing a great job forecasting that rainfall, trying to move into the area, but lightening up as it heads further into North Mississippi. Those dissipating out for the most part, but then, oh man, the big boss comes into play, and we're talking about a downpour across the region by 7 a.m., a sprinkle to moderate rainfall, but those yellows, that's what I was mentioning with the downpour. That's where we're going to see that heaviest rainfall, and that's really going to be in the heart of that system towards tomorrow morning. One way to track it, Mississippi Live Weather app, we have live radar imagery that you can access at any point, especially towards your morning commute. So as you head out the door tomorrow morning, grab that rain gear, but enjoy the temperatures that we're having as a result of some of that moisture in the air. We're talking low 60s across the region. Would not be at all impossible to see some upper 50s out there towards northwest Alabama. Since some of that moisture, it takes a little bit longer to reach the west side of Alabama. School day forecast, yeah. Students need their rain gear. 50% drop off, 60% by lunch, and we're sticking with that 60% by the last bell. Let me say, not just students, but also teachers. I know one watching at home right now who needs to make sure her rain gear is packed for her forecast tomorrow. Still should be a great school day as those below average temperatures linger in the forecast. We just need to, we're not talking about coats yet, but a rain jacket for sure needed for your Thursday. Those rain chances linger throughout the day. Again, this is the latest model run, and you can see how rainy of a forecast this is predicting. Honestly, I should have bumped up those percentages to about 70% because that's how likely and how expected and how impactful that rainfall will be. Little bit of a lull by late morning. Yes, we do see some breaks in that moisture, but towards the afternoon, there's some of those reds popping up, and this is where I expect a few rumbles of thunder included within this. This isn't exactly going to be a thunderstorm producer, but wouldn't at all be impossible with some of those clouds that are lifted high up into the atmosphere and some of that electricity that stirs up just a bit. 1:30, those transition a little bit more into our area, and as that warm front pushes in, it'll bring that moisture with it. So by 3 p.m., those showers lingering in the area and some moderate rainfall once again expected. It is going to be a dreary day for our Thursday. And the latest model run actually has what looks to be a third round trying to push into the area heading into our Thursday night. That's going to produce some heavy rainfall once again. So we'll look at rainfall outputs here in a second. 2-3 inches, not at all impossible in some areas, actually higher than that. That's why rain gauge pictures are essential, because those local reports, rather than just the average estimates on radar, definitely make a difference whenever we're issuing, or National Weather Service is issuing those advisories and warnings. Mid to upper 70s is where we top out tomorrow afternoon. We talk about when moisture's in the air or when there's cloud cover in the sky, those temperatures remain pretty uniform. So we're not climbing too much from whenever we start the day, but about a 10 degree temperature swing for sure. Heat indices, yes, there's a lot of moisture in the air, but fortunately that stickiness not going to impact our forecast here on the ground. There's that third round that we were talking about, trying to move into the area by 9 o'clock. That's where we increase those rain chances back there towards Greenville, Greenwood, Winona, even down there towards the Golden Triangle region. So yes, we expect at least everybody to get a drop tomorrow. There might be a few areas that get less than others. and that's just the unfortunate part about it. But this is our best chance of rainfall that we've seen in quite a while. 3 a.m. on your Friday, those chances still trying to linger. But watch how this front, watch the interaction it has there towards our Friday. A lot of that carries off there towards the south, so it'll limit our rain chances for our Friday. But Friday at least showing some higher rainfall outputs than what was originally forecasted at the 6 o'clock hour. So we're upping those rain chances just a bit as well on Friday. I mean, seeing that how much that moisture is lingering, definitely going to play a part in our forecast for our Friday night football games. Hopefully a lot of that pushes to the south. We're fingers crossed on that because we want a good week 1 forecast for football. And of course, we'll be over in Pontotoc debuting our football forecast here at Mississippi Live Weather, and we're so excited to get out and about in the community. And a big thank you to you guys for participating in that. But looking at high temperatures across the region for our Friday, should be as cool as a week 1 could be here in North Mississippi for our high school football season. So enjoy it. Again, where you have to give up one, you get another. And you're giving up the drier weather for some cooler conditions. But hopefully a lot of that pushes out, like I mentioned, by 7 o'clock on our Friday. Of course, we'll be walking through that forecast with you in detail heading into our Thursday evening as well. So heat indices showcase once again that drier air in place Thursday and Friday. I would say we could bump this to 70 and we could bump this to 40 based off latest model runs. But into the weekend, a more isolated in fashion. That's how it'll be heading into early parts of next week. So temperatures, as a result of those more isolated chances, going to be upped as well. We'll track that in just a moment. Let's first talk about forecasted rainfall for our forecast tomorrow. Still showcasing 2 inches in some isolated areas. Now, don't pay attention to the exact pinpoint accuracy of this graphic. Just pay attention to the fact that we're having 2 inches on some of those outputs. So that's showing some localized heavy rainfall, which will set the scene for some flooding potential. That flash flood threat at a slight risk for tomorrow. Again, this is not severe weather, flash flood threat, and that level 2 risk extending basically west of 55 and south of 82 for the most part, excluding the eastern side of Lowndes and Noxubee County and even there towards Pickens County. But that level 1 threat still included all the way up there towards Union County. I see the Manor House is right on the cusp of that flash flood threat. So while we don't want a flash flood, we will take some rainfall and some decent rainfall at that. So the more the merrier. Just don't try not to flood the forecast. That's what we're requesting, right? But looking at that forecasted rainfall for Friday, you see that heart of the moisture, especially down there towards the south. That's where we expect the best rain chances to be. But some of that moisture ratcheting up there on the northern side of our area. So expect some of those scattered showers to linger on the forecast towards our Friday afternoon. Just say a prayer that some of that moisture pushes off to the south sooner rather than later. That Friday forecast, flash flood threat, a marginal threat for our Friday as some of that moisture does linger in the forecast. So flash flooding once again a threat, but our best chance to see flash flooding will for sure be on our Thursday. Saturday, Sunday, we said it was going to be more isolated, but that heat building as a result. Mid-80s for both Saturday and Sunday, but watch how they increase heading into midweek of next week. 86 Monday, 87 Tuesday, and 89 there towards your Wednesday. So we are on the up and up when it comes to temperatures in the extended forecast, but luckily some rain chances here in the immediate forecast that we can enjoy before we get there. But we were talking about football, of course, and we need to take a look at that football forecast. This is going to be Ole Miss taking on Georgia State. I got to go, let me go get that graphic here in 1 second. But Mississippi State playing Southern Miss. As we take a look at this forecast, at first place, 72 degrees, 71 by halftime, and 71 by that final snap. Of course, rain chances lingering. Well, where did we say the rain chances were going? South. And what's down south? Hattiesburg. So of course we have those rain chances on the increase, even though we're expecting isolated showers up here on the northern side of the state. So paying attention to that forecast, but fingers crossed we at least get a few breaks in those showers because we don't want a mud bowl down there between Mississippi State and Southern Miss. Alabama playing in Tallahassee against Florida State. 81 first play, 82 halftime, 77 by the final snap. We all know Florida forecasting. There's always a chance for a scattered shower and storm. So hopefully, like I said, for Mississippi State, get a little bit of a break in that forecast, but this is a game I'm excited about. Should be a fantastic game. Let me go get that graphic together for the Ole Miss game because I want to make sure you guys are informed on that forecast because we are excited to just make this a possibility and walk you guys through that forecast. So bear with me behind the scenes here real quick. Let me see. That might not be updating. I might have to tweak that heading into the... Yeah, I will have to fix that graphic heading into the 5 o'clock show tomorrow. So, of course, stay tuned here at Mississippi Live Weather for more on that Ole Miss forecast, and we'll have that in detail heading into that extended forecast, of course. But we are expecting good conditions, isolated showers up here in Lafayette County, so it should be a fantastic game in Oxford. Taking on Georgia State, I'm not going to forecast a blowout, but that's the expected forecast. So, Rebels, got to do your thing. Okay, if you want to check the latest on the forecast, we of course have our morning show happening with meteorologist Maggie McCauley tomorrow morning. If you missed it this morning, make sure to tune in tomorrow because we have an active pattern heading into that extended forecast and we need to be staying on top of things. So best way to do so, downloading the app, iOS and Android, to get the very latest information on that forecast. You can also track those showers for yourself throughout the day with the live Mississippi Live Weather Radar. And of course, we'll be back live, as I mentioned, 6:37 and 7:30 tomorrow morning, but then again at 5, 6, and 10, and we'll have more on that football forecast, just what to expect for your Friday night and for your Saturday. No matter where you're at, we'll be tracking you every step of the way. If you are a Rebel, a Crimson Tide, or a Bulldog, we'll have every step of that for you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope you have a fantastic evening. Again, weather watchers, have the rain gauges ready. Can't wait to see those reports tomorrow. Have a great night.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.